Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're tackling mindfulness meditation for anxiety, and we've got a fantastic guide to help us.
Yeah, this article really is comprehensive.
It's from Limitless Living, posted in August 2024, titled Mindfulness Meditation for Anxiety, a Comprehensive Guide. And I think what surprised me most going into this is the history.
Oh, definitely. It's not just some trendy wellness thing.
Right. We're talking ancient roots here.
Deep roots in Buddhist traditions. Centuries old, this concept of sati. That's the Pali word for mindfulness.
See, I learn something new every time we do this, but sati, mindfulness.
hmm
What does that actually mean in practice?
Well, the article describes it as focusing on the present moment without judgment.
Okay, so easier said than done for a lot of us, right?
Absolutely, especially when anxiety is involved.
Our minds are racing, we're worried about the future.
Exactly. But mindfulness is about cultivating awareness of those thoughts, those feelings, even bodily sensations as they come up.
So not ignoring them, but not getting swept away by them either.
Exactly. It's like creating a space between you and those thoughts.
So you can observe them without letting them dictate your whole mood. That makes sense.
It's almost like rewiring your brain to react differently to stress. And the benefits are pretty impressive. There are studies backing this stuff up.
The article mentions decreased anxiety and depression symptoms, even citing the National Institute for Health and Care Excellence. That's a nice E, right?
Yes, the nice. And for them to endorse it says a lot about the credibility of mindfulness and its impact on mental health.
It's not just woo-woo stuff then. There's real science behind it.
Solid evidence, which is great to see. And it goes beyond just the mental stuff. The article also talks about how mindfulness meditation can improve sleep quality.
Oh, that's huge, especially if you're dealing with anxiety-induced insomnia, which, let's face it, is a lot of us.
Sleep is so often disrupted by anxiety. You lie awake worrying, and then not sleeping just makes the anxiety worse, a vicious cycle.
So mindfulness helps break that cycle by promoting relaxation, easing that stress so you can actually get some rest.
Exactly. And there's one more benefit I want to touch on: emotional regulation. This one really resonated with me.
Yeah, I found that part fascinating. Mindfulness helping us manage our emotions better.
Right. Imagine watching a storm from the safety of your home. You see the wind and rain, but you're not caught in it.
You're protected.
Mindfulness helps you create that same separation from your emotions. You can acknowledge that feeling of anxiety, but it doesn't have to overwhelm you.
So instead of getting tossed around by every anxious wave, you're learning to, what, ride them better? Surf those feelings?
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And that ability to regulate emotions, to choose a response instead of just reacting, that's crucial for managing anxiety long term.
Okay, so we've got the what and the why of mindfulness down, but I'm really curious about the how. And luckily for us,
This article delivers. It doesn't just talk the talk, it walks the walk. Lots of practical techniques.
perfect, because that's exactly what we're diving into next. Stay with us. Okay, so practical techniques, let's get into it. I'm ready to learn how to actually DO this mindfulness thing.
Well, the article starts with something that seems pretty basic, but it's key: finding a comfortable space.
All right, so we don't need to book a trip to a monastery in Tibet.
Not unless that's what feels comfortable for you. It really could be anywhere you can minimize distractions.
A quiet corner at home, my desk at work when everyone's gone.
Exactly. Your car during a lunch break. It's about creating that inner sanctuary wherever you can.
So it's less about the physical space and more about quieting the mental noise, right?
Yeah, that's it. And then the article goes on to outline a few different techniques. It's not one size fits all.
Oh, good, because if one thing doesn't work for me, maybe another will click. What are some of the options?
One that the article describes is the body scan.
That's the one you mentioned liking, right?
Yeah, it really resonates with me. It's amazing how much we just tune out our bodies when our minds are busy.
Oh, tell me about it. I only notice I'm tense when my shoulders are practically up to my ears.
The body scan helps bring that awareness back. You focus on each part of your body, noticing sensations without judgment.
Just observing, like I'm feeling warmth in my hands, tightness in my chest.
Exactly. And those subtle sensations, they help ground us in the present moment.
It's like hitting reset on your awareness.
And if the body scan doesn't quite click, the article also talks about loving kindness meditation.
Okay, that sounds intriguing. What's that all about?
It's about cultivating compassion and goodwill. You start by directing these feelings towards yourself.
Oh, wow. Self-love. That's something I think a lot of us, especially those struggling with anxiety, could use more of.
Absolutely. And then you extend that kindness outward to others, loved ones, acquaintances, even strangers.
It's like building a ripple effect of positivity.
Exactly. And finally, there's guided meditation.
Ah, yes, I've tried those. I find them really helpful, especially when my mind feels too jumbled to direct itself.
Guided meditations are fantastic, especially for beginners. It's like having a mindfulness coach right there in your pocket.
And there's some great apps for that, right?
Tons. Insight Timer, Headspace, they offer guided meditations for all sorts of things, from anxiety to sleep issues, focus, you name it.
It's like having a whole library of mindfulness at your fingertips.
Exactly. And the key takeaway here is that there's no one right way to do this. The article really emphasizes that.
Finding what works for you, what you actually enjoy, so you'll stick with it.
That's the key.
Yeah.
Because one-off meditation is great, but making it a habit, that's where the real magic happens.
So how do we do that? How do we make mindfulness part of our routine, not just a random thing we try once in a while?
Well, the article has some tips for that too.
Hmm.
It suggests creating a routine, like meditating at the same time each day.
Oh, I'm a big believer in routines.
It helps signal to your brain, okay, this is mindfulness time, and makes it more likely you'll actually do it.
Like setting an alarm, but for peace of mind.
Exactly. The article also mentions the importance of tracking your progress.
Okay, so like keeping a meditation journal.
It could be as simple as jotting down a few notes before and after your meditation sessions. How you were feeling, any challenges that came up, insights you had.
So not just meditating, but reflecting on the experience afterward too, making those connections.
It adds a layer of awareness. You start to notice patterns in your thoughts and feelings. What triggers your anxiety?
Almost like your own mindfulness researcher, gathering data on your inner world.
That's a great way to think about it. But, we also have to acknowledge that mindfulness isn't always easy.
Oh, absolutely. It's not like you just sit down, close your eyes, and poof, instant zen. What does the article say about the challenges?
Well, the article talks about things like racing thoughts, feeling restless, or even just struggling to stay motivated.
Yeah, all very relatable. I know I've definitely experienced all of those at some point. What does it suggest for those kind of roadblocks?
Well, for racing thoughts, it recommends finding an anchor for your attention.
Okay, like something to hold on to when your mind's going a mile a minute.
Exactly. So that could be a mantra, like a word or phrase you repeat silently to yourself.
I've heard of that. Something simple and calming.
Right. Or you can focus on your breath, feeling each inhale and exhale.
Ah, bringing it back to the physical sensations. That makes sense.
And if restlessness is the issue, the article suggests, well, don't force yourself to stay still if it's uncomfortable.
So it's okay to move around a bit.
Yeah, experiment with different positions. Try lying down instead of sitting, or even walking meditation.
So you can be mindful on the move. I like that.
The point is to find what works for you, what allows you to relax and focus. And then for motivation dips, well, we all have those days.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes even 5 minutes of meditation feels like too much.
The article suggests starting small, like set a timer for just 5 minutes and gradually increase it over time.
So baby steps. I can do that.
And don't forget to celebrate those little wins. Reward yourself when you reach a milestone, even if it's just a cup of tea or a walk in nature.
Treat yourself. I like that approach. Make it something to look forward to, not just another thing to check off the list.
Exactly. And the last thing I want to highlight is that mindfulness doesn't have to be this separate thing you do for a few minutes a day.
Oh, so like bringing it into daily life.
Yeah. The article talks about finding those little moments to be mindful throughout your day.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Like taking a few deep breaths before a meeting, or really paying attention to the flavors and textures of your food when you eat.
Ah, so it's about savoring those little moments instead of just rushing through them.
Precisely. It's about weaving mindfulness into the fabric of your day, making it a part of who you are, not just something you do.
I love that. So we've learned about the history of mindfulness, its benefits, practical techniques to try, and even how to overcome some common challenges. This has been a really insightful deep dive.
I agree. This article gave us a lot to think about.
And now it's up to our listeners to take what they've learned and see what works for them.
Yeah, find what resonates. What technique are you most drawn to and why? We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into mindfulness meditation for anxiety. We hope you found it helpful and inspiring.
And until next time, may you find moments of peace and presence throughout your day.